Welcome back to Occupy the Media. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to be taking your calls in just a minute, so join the conversation. The call is toll-free, 877-575-FSTV. That's 877-575-3788. Do you support what the Occupy movement is doing? Are you against it? Pick up the phone and let us know what you think. So, Marcy, on Monday, Occupy DC took to the streets to protest a new law that's been dubbed the Anti-Occupy Law. What is this law, and why is the movement so concerned?
It's essentially a law that makes it a federal crime to protest in certain areas. That includes the White House, the Vice President's house, and areas that are deemed of national security or national significance. It also means that anybody who is under the protection of the Secret Service now, if you protest in their vicinity, that also is a federal
And so
crime.
this was actually just an extension of a current law on the books that made this a crime, but what it did was it increased the amount of criminal punishment that someone can be charged with. What can they be charged with under this new law?
Now it's a year and a fine, at minimum up to 10 years if you have a firearm or if there's some sort of violence involved, whereas before I believe it was maybe just a fine.
And so, Dawn, this was recently signed into law by President Obama. What do you make of this?
Well, I personally disagree with President Obama signing this law. I think it's a matter of great concern to all of us who hold individual rights and civil liberties sacrosanct. You know, this smacks of the kind of some of the most draconian measures that we saw passed in the Patriot Act right after the 9/11 tragedy. And it's something that the ACLU is concerned about, Daily Cause, and a number of other groups on the left and within the progressive movement are very concerned with.
Well, and what's so interesting to me about this law is they felt this need to then add on this criminal charges that people could really be in federal prison for a long time for participating in this. And this law was already on the books. So if you're at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, or you're at the Super Bowl, or any of these other big national security events, you can't get close to the inside of these group meetings anyway.
Well, and what I heard was that a lot of what has the occupiers concerned is that they, would go in and we see these mic checks that they do to, Mitt Romney or to Michelle Bachmann, and now if they're under the protection of the Secret Service, doing that is a federal crime, and that's what's concerning to them.
And so we'll have to look more into this and see what people should be actually concerned about if they are thinking about trying to protest at one of these events. By now, most people have seen videos from the Occupy movement that expose police brutality, but this is nothing new for people of color. Marcy, you spoke with a founding member of Occupy the Hood. What is Occupy the Hood?
Occupy the Hood is a group concerned mostly with making sure that communities of color, so that's blacks and Latinos, are members, are part of the Occupy movement as well, because a lot of the concerns of the 99% and of the occupation are very direct in these communities.
So focusing on communities of color, and you actually did an interview with Jaziri X of Occupy the Hood, so let's take a look at what he had to say.
The role of Occupy the Hood and as far as the overall Occupy movement is to bring that diversity to the table, to make sure that, when we talk about the economic climate, oftentimes, they say if a white America has a cold, the black community has the flu. And so, a lot of these economic disparities we've been dealing with in our community for years. In fact, CNN just did a report that said typically white people have 20 times the income as black people. So Occupy the Hood was an idea of Malik so we can have that discussion about income inequality in our community, as well as deal with issues specific to our community. One of the things that Occupy the Hood is organizing or helping to organize with the death of the Bronx teenager, Ramarley Graham, who was, killed unarmed in his own house by the New York Police Department, as well as raising awareness about the stop and frisk rule that's been going on. So I think the role of Occupy the Hood is to add that diversity and then make sure when, these issues are brought up that we're not forgotten in that conversation.
All right, that was Jaziri X of Occupy the Hood. And Marcy, he made a reference to Malik in that got cut out. Who is he talking about?
He was talking about Malik Rahsaan, who was one of the other founding members of Occupy the Hood. He's a working man from Jamaica, Queens, who really went out to the Occupy movement and saw that there wasn't a lot of diversity there and thought these are the issues of my people as well, and really made an effort to reach out to his friends in Chicago and Detroit and these cities that have a vibrant communities, minority communities.
And Don, do you have any quick points about Occupy the Hood?
I think it's a great development, and we're going to see more of it in the weeks ahead. There's a big conference coming up, the Left Forum at Pace University in New York this weekend coming, and one of the panels is called Occupy Malcolm X.
Okay.
So the idea is to bring the thinking of Malcolm X into the dialogue.
And Jaziri X actually makes a lot of really great web videos, and we actually have one playing in our credits, so everyone stick around for that. We actually have a caller on the line, Pearson from Texas. You're on Occupy the Media.
Can you all hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay. I'd like to make Hello. I'd like to make an argument that Bill O'Reilly basically is engaged in an apples and oranges argument. The Ben and Jerry money for Occupy folks, to me, represents an equaling of leveling out the field. When you consider what the CEOs have under the Citizens United, CEOs have a redundancy of their own rights. Not only do they get the right to vote and have their representation that way, but they also get representation in behind closed doors, in the boardrooms, and in legislation jiggering. But the hourly workers and employees, the people who actually work for a wage at Burger King and Sears or BP Halliburton, when an explosion occurs, where's their rights? Where's their representation under voter suppression legislation? Where's their recourse under so-called tort reform? So I see the Ben and Jerry as a reasonable counter to this stupid ruling by Citizens
Okay, and
United.
let me give Don a chance to comment on that. Pearson, thanks a lot for your call.
I think the caller is dead on, accurate. I commend him for those comments. What he says is essentially it's a false equivalency that Bill O'Reilly is trying to
yeah, and
to
we're
set
only
up.
talking a limited amount of money. At the most, they've only done $300,000-$400,000 at this point. They want to raise millions more, but that pales in comparison to the amount of money that's already flowed into the campaign. Let's take another call. It's Charlie from California. You're on Occupy the Media.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I'm from Occupy Ukiah. We're a couple hours north of San Francisco, and we have been very active since October. We have not had a tent city. We decided that we just wanted to be politically active locally and nationally. So what we have been working on locally is to prevent Walmart from expanding to a superstore in our little town. And we've had demonstrations. We've been to the planning council, the planning commission meetings here in our town. I'm just about to head out the door to one. And it looks like we may be successful on that level. We've been involved in with the Move to Amend group. We've had people out with petitions signing for the against the Citizens United decision. That may take us some years. We also have some petitions.
Okay, well, Charlie, I'm going to have to cut you off there, but thanks so much for calling in and letting us know what's going on in your town there in California. So we asked our Facebook and Twitter followers to give us their 2 cents. Do you think the new anti-Occupy law is an attack against your First Amendment right to assemble? Christina wrote, "It's a blatant attack. This government is in violation of their oaths." Timothy writes in with, "They have been attacking our First Amendment rights way before this law." Jim chimes in with, "This law will be ineffective. I have no problem going down for what I believe in." Well, that's all the time that we have this week, but the conversations are continuing in the streets and in the online world on Twitter and Facebook. So check it out. Thanks for joining us today. We will see you next time on Occupy the Media.
Leave these people alone. They're U.S. citizens. Stop hurting these people, man. Why y'all do this to our people? I've been to Iraq 14 months for my people. You don't ignore them. They don't have guns. They don't have guns. They don't. Why are you hurting these people? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. How do you sleep at night?
and be the next mouse in the challenge of an eagle. This country's wealth gap is an unbalance. It's evil. We celebrate access while the people have less, and poverty abject madness. While the economy collapses, add stress, that's the last straw. You want glass, well, we'll give you what you asked for. The have-nots at the haves, though we came to crash your party, and we ain't leaving until we even.